Retirement is a transition from a structured work identity to a purpose-driven lifestyle. Maintaining a sense of meaning involves pursuing hobbies, lifelong learning, or volunteer work. Engaging in social activities and using technology to stay connected helps prevent isolation. Intergenerational relationships offer mutual benefits, fostering a sense of contribution and engagement. Financial stability plays a key role in overall wellness. Unmanaged financial stress can impact both physical and mental health. A structured retirement routine that includes financial planning, exercise, and mindfulness practices supports long-term well-being. Activities such as group fitness, meditation, and financial check-ins contribute to balance. A retirement wellness roadmap should incorporate personal values, social engagement, physical health, mental well-being, and financial planning. By taking a proactive approach, retirees can create a lifestyle that promotes fulfillment, stability, and overall wellness in this new phase of life.
Christine, based on the lessons in your book, How to Retire, what's the single most overlooked component of a holistic retirement routine? Mind, body, or money?
Well, I would say probably mind, and I would connect that to connections to other human beings, because I do think that relationships, connections, social connections are a very underrated component of life satisfaction, life happiness. A lot of research has been dedicated to determining what leads to happy and successful lives, and much of it points to the value of human connections. So certainly keeping your mind engaged by staying engaged with other human beings is mission critical as we think about aging.
Pete, your money mountaineering model talks about peaks and valleys. How can that framework guide someone combining fitness planning and financial peace?
Well, to me, again, I'm more about the money and the risk. So, but in that sense, you really need to be holistic in thinking about all aspects of your financial world, including those things that could jump up and bite you. So for me, I think it's very important to really scan the entire horizon of your financial life and identify those areas that are, make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel afraid, make you feel, maybe overconfident, and really build in the entire picture.
Jason, you talk about intentional living. Like, what has your experience been like?
Well, I love what Pete said, that he's all about the money, because I am the guy who's all about the wellness. I just happen to talk about the money part of it. And so for me, I learned about 10 years ago as well about these multi-dimensional approach to life, that we're not just one dimension, we are 8 dimensions. So that's mental, emotional, physical, social, occupational, environmental, and financial well-being. And these dimensions are interconnected, they're overlapping. When one dimension is suffering, it has a ripple effect on other dimensions. And so I thought that just improving my finances was going to improve my mental health, my physical health. And that certainly can have an impact. But if I don't intentionally focus on improving my mental well-being, whether it's learning something new, whether it's de-stressing or things like that, or even regulating my emotions for emotional well-being, that will then have an impact on my finances. And so for me, intention, it really is about understanding that you are multidimensional, and that we shouldn't focus solely on one aspect, because if we let go of one area or focus too much on one dimension, that has that negative ripple effect as well on the others when we neglect them.
So it sounds like if you have different legs of the stool, if one's missing, you fall over.
Yeah, exactly it.
So Christine, if the mind is the most frequently overlooked, how do we systematically approach a financial plan so that it's more than just the money?
Well, I think it starts well before your anticipated retirement date. And so I do think the concept of retirement as this hard stop is antiquated and it ought to go by the wayside. I've come to believe that a kind of a glide path into retirement is a much better model for all of us. So I urge people, if they're kind of moving into their middle age, maybe at age 50 or thereabouts, to really take stock of what aspects of your work you enjoy, what aspects you don't enjoy, and try to pull forward the things that you enjoy. And maybe you do that kind of in stealth mode where you're not telling your employer, or maybe you're actively engaging with your employer about what your preferences are in terms of the complexion of the work you do. Because it turns out that work, whether paid work or some other activity that brings us purpose and identity and structure, that's really good for us throughout our lives. And we don't want to entirely leave it behind. So I would urge people to reimagine retirement as kind of a glide path where you're shedding activities that you're not enjoying as much. And if you're someone who has neglected your physical self in the years leading up to middle age or older ages, it's time to really engage on improving your health. If you've neglected your relationships, really be intentional about figuring out how you'll put yourself in contact with other human beings on an ongoing basis. Don't wait until retirement to make these fixes. You should address them well before.
Jason, how have you?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Christine is absolutely right on that notion of starting to think about retirement well before retirement. And that glide path is a very powerful concept. And it also dovetails with something that we find in the retirement income strategy analysis, that one of the most important assets that a retiree has is the present value of their future earnings as a part-time work. So finding something that you love, that you can actually make a little bit of money with after your retirement, is a very powerful supplement to a retirement income strategy.
One thing I would interject, Andy, is that when we look at the data on who is working longer, it's actually the wealthier segments of our population. And so the people who are who are needing to work the least are able to work the most. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind, that people oftentimes have this intention to continue working, but maybe they have a job that's physically demanding, or they have health issues, or their spouse has health issues. There are things that knock people out of the workforce earlier than they might wish. So that's just kind of a caution when I hear from people where they say, well, okay, my plan is to work until I'm 75 or something. Great aspiration if you like that work, but it's not necessarily a plan. So just kind of a caution that people shouldn't lean too much on working income to make a save if their retirement assets aren't looking like they will be sufficient.
Wise words, and a reminder that not all jobs are created equally in terms of how long you can work in that job. Jason,
Yeah, exactly.
How has your definition of retirement, has that changed over time? And do you see many people changing how they define retirement today?
Yeah, so I quote unquote retired early, and not because I had millions of dollars in the bank, but I just realized I needed to rewire. So we're having these conversations about that glide path. I think that's a really awesome concept, and the concept of rewiring our brain and not to retire from life and from living. And so, yes, the evolution, my understanding of what retirement is, because it's drilled down, since I can remember that, oh yeah, we retire at the age of 70. So we work all these years. We try is a key word, to save for retirement. And if we have to work, we just gotta, just get up and keep working if we need to pay our bills. And I realized that that is not the path, and there are different ways for us to go about it. And for me, I've traveled all across the country. And Andy, I have done road trips, 37 events in 30 days, all across big cities, small towns, and have these wonderful conversations with people with all walks of life. And the vast majority, and to Christine's point, the vast majority of people that I meet do not want to retire. What they want to do is actually leave work that they dislike or hate or just have to do. But when they think of their like elder years, they actually want to continue doing purposeful work. And if they happen to be in a career path or in a profession that they absolutely enjoy and they love, they want to continue doing that. But unfortunately, when there are medical issues or there's family issues that prevent them from continuing to work, they're kind of forced to retire. And now that I'm in Florida, it's really fascinating how many people who are in their 70s, who are retired, who I continue to have these conversations with, that tell me that they are working not because they need the extra money, they're working for the social aspect, that they feel isolated and that's affecting them. So they rejoin the workforce. They certainly are okay with a little bit of extra income coming in, but they're doing it for the social aspect.
Lots to think about. Let's move on to segment 2.